Okay. So let's start today. Let's start that first of all, that why reproduction is important. We are going to start the process chapter, that is reproduction, and that is an important chapter. Okay. So let us start reproduction. So first of all, it is being asked in the examination that what is reproduction and why reproduction is important. So you know that it is an essential life. We can say that it is not a life process. Means we can say what are life process. First, let me explain you that what are life process. Life process are those process in which a living means without these process, a living organism cannot survive. For example, if I talk to you,
Life processes are the processes that are required for the continuation of one life
yeah, yeah,
organism.
yeah, you can say this one.
Yes.
Okay, this is important. Means we cannot say that means life process are those process that are essential for maintaining and sustaining life. Without life process, organism cannot reproduce. For example, I have taught you in the process of life chapter, the nutrition. The nutrition we have studied. Okay, nutrition is important. Respiration is important. Okay, respiration, then transportation. Okay, and then excretion. Then excretion. Okay, but you know that reproduction is not an essential life process. There are so many organisms that can live without reproduction. Okay, so that can reproduce without means they can live without reproduction. For example, worker bee never reproduce. For example, mule which is produced by mating of female horse and male donkey. Female horse and male donkey. So when they reproduce, they form mule. Okay, so but mule never reproduce. But why reproduction is essential? Because reproduction is not an essential life process, but it helps in maintaining and sustaining life. Okay, let me explain you that why reproduction is essential. So first of all, what is the we can say that reproduction is a process in which a new organism is capable of producing young ones of their own kind. Okay, means if an organism has capability to reproduce, to regenerate an organism of their own kind, so we can say that that organism is reproducing. Okay, that organism is reproducing. So first of all, what is being asked in the examination that
Good
what is
evening, sir.
reproduction? Good evening, Shweta. Okay, it is being asked that why reproduction is essential. So first of all, let me explain you. First of all, reproduction ensures us the continuity of life. What reproduction ensures? It ensures the continuity of the life. It ensures the continuity of the life. Everybody, please turn on your camera. Shweb, Shweta, Tejasvi. Okay, please turn on your camera. Amar.
I'm having network issues here, so
Are having network issues. So at least one of the students should open the camera so that there should be an eye contact. Okay. Okay. So if I'm talking about this one, that talking about the reproduction. So why reproduction is essential? So whenever a cell is going to reproduce, it copy its DNA. It copy its DNA. Okay. First of all, DNA copying is take place. Okay. And whenever a DNA is DNA copied inside the cell with the help of biochemical reactions. Biochemical reactions. Okay, biochemical reactions. And you know that every time a cell is not going to have a particular means similar conditions. A cell is not going to have similar conditions. Okay, so we can say that a reproduction, during a reproduction, whenever a cell is going to divide, so when the DNA is being copied due to the biochemical process, the copied DNA is similar but not 100% exact and accurate. We cannot say that it is being copied. Here it is being copied. This is original DNA, original, and this is the copied one. This is the copied one. And the copied DNA is not exact 100% exact to the original one. There is some changes. There is some variation. There is some change in the DNA, in the copied DNA from the original one. It is similar, but not exact accurate, 100% accurate. So this variation, this change in DNA result in change in the living organism, variation in the living organism, because DNA is responsible for the appearance, for the proper functioning of the cell. Whatever a cell is going to perform its function, it is stored in DNA. And if there is a variation in DNA is taking place, if variation in DNA is taking place, then what is going to happen? The cell, we can simply say that there must be variation in DNA. If there is a variation in DNA, then there should be the variation in the functioning of DNA in this cell, functioning of cell. Okay, and this variation gives survival advantage. For example, let me explain you. For example, there is a bacteria which lives at minus 10 degrees Celsius, minus 10 or minus 15 degrees Celsius. But due to global warming, the temperature of that increases and becomes 5 degrees Celsius, okay, or 0 degrees Celsius, or 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. So we can say that a bacteria which was habitual of living at minus 15 degrees Celsius, it is start living at 0 degrees Celsius. And how it is possible? It is possible due to variation. Means it reproduce, the new bacteria generates, the new bacteria will adapt. Let's suppose it's adapt minus 12 degrees Celsius, then new bacteria that start adapting the minus 10 degrees Celsius, then minus 5, then minus 2, and so on. So if the generation on generation, like for example, you see that we are habitual of living in the areas like hotter areas, okay, on the colder areas. For example, if you start living on the plain areas, you are living on the plain area. If you start living in the hilly regions, so here the atmospheric supply or atmospheric oxygen is less. Due to higher altitude, oxygen percentage is less. And due to that, the lungs of the human beings that are living on the hilly areas to those that are living in the plain areas, their lungs are much bigger in size as compared to those that are living in the plain areas. Because of a small, we can say that because of a small oxygen or less amount of oxygen there at higher altitudes, their lungs are small, bigger in size. They have more number of RBC count, more number of RBCs, red blood cell, that carries oxygen so that they can easily transport the oxygen. Okay, so we can say that why their lungs are larger in size than the blue, because they adapt themselves. And how it is possible? Due to reproduction. They keep on reproducing, the organisms start having, and particularly they start adapting that one. Okay, got it. So if I say that in simple words, that what reproduction is helping, reproduction help us in changing the organism according to the environment, according to the situation. And how the organism change? When reproduction occurs, because whenever DNA is copied, there is some variations take place, and this variation gives survival advantage. Okay, because every time DNA is being copied, it's copied by the biochemical process, and no biochemical process is 100% accurate and reliable. We cannot say that the copied DNA is exact and 100% same to the original one. It must have some changes. And if there is a change in DNA, then it may result in changing the appearance of the body, color, adaptation, something. Means it result in the change among the organism. Got it? Everybody understood?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, reproduction ensures the continuity of the life, that we are not going to extend, that our generation is not going to extend. We will extend, but our generation will not extend. Okay, let us keep on multiplying, dividing. Okay, and similarly, note it down that why reproduction is important. It ensures that we are not going to extend, and it ensures that the continuity of the life, and reproduction result in variation among the species, which provides survival advantage. Note it down. Note the definition of reproduction also.
So I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
Right. So in why reproduction is important, okay? Both the points mean the same thing, right?
Yeah. It ensure that we are not going to extend. It ensure the continuity of life. Yeah, both the points are absolutely same. Means they have the same meaning. Okay, or you can write it or here, or it ensure the continuity of life. And the third point is yellow point. That is it ensure, it result in the variation among the organism. which provides survival advantage.
Done, sir.
Done, everybody?
Yes, sir, done.
Let's move further. Now, let me explain you here that whenever a cell is going to divide, the cell may divide by two process. Okay, one is the mitosis, another one is meiosis. Let me explain you each and everything. Whenever there is a single parent, for example, this is a parent cell, it has one DNA, original DNA. This one is original DNA, and this one is copied DNA. Okay, first of all, it's copied DNA, and then the two cells means it divides into two daughter cells. Okay, so it means that here you see that there is no means there is only one parent which is copying its DNA first, and then the original DNA and the copy DNA are having, means they are being divided, and we can say that the new organism is formed. Okay, so this is a type of, we can say this is an asexual mode of reproduction, in which the DNA is copied first and there is no germ cells or no gamete is required. Okay, and since here the single parent is involved, so we can say that variation is less because only one parent DNA is here which is being copied. So variation means chances of variation, mean because DNA is almost same, because of it is the copy of only one parent, so the variation is less. And if the variation is less, chances of survival is less, because more variation, more chances of variation of survival advantage. Okay, means there will be more survival advantage. Chances of survival is more if the variation is more. But here, since the DNA is present of only single parent, so we say that there is only, what we will say, only one parent is involved. Okay, now you understood. Now moving to the next type of, that is sexual mode of reproduction. In sexual mode of reproduction, there is one parent. This is another parent. This is male and female parent. Their DNA divides into half. Like you see here, if it is going to have 46 chromosomes, like in human beings we have 46 chromosomes. Okay, and the gametes, like sperm in male and ovum in females, is going to have 23 chromosomes only, 23. So here, this human beings that is going to have 46, male human being that is going to have 46 chromosome, it has its reproductive cell that is going to have only half DNA, like this. Okay, like in female also, in female the reproductive cells have only half DNA. Our other body cells have full DNA, like RBC, WBC, neuron, nerve cell, cardiac cell, they have 46 chromosome. But the gametes, but these cells that help in reproduction have only half chromosomes, have only half chromosome. So you got it? You understood?
Yes, sir.
Now, when this half chromosome of this male and half chromosome of the female, they fuse together, they form again a full cell with half of female characteristics and half of the DNA of female and half of the DNA of male parent, and they form a single cell again, that is called zygote, that is going to have 46 chromosomes. This male gamete reproduce fuse with the female gamete, then again it gives you a 46 chromosome cell. Okay, so here, since in sexual mode of reproduction there is a gamete means reproductive cells is being required, because half DNA is being required. So we can say, and here in a sexual mode of reproduction, there the two parents are being involved, and since the two parents are being involved here, so the chances of variation is more. Why? Because there is two parent DNAs involved, two different organism DNAs are involved. Not a single parent is here. There are two parents, and which are producing a single young ones. So it is going to have 50% characteristics of male parent, 50% characteristics of female parent. So variation is more, chances of survival is more. Since variation is more, chance of survival is more. Of offspring is not exact copy of its parents. Why? Why it is not exact copy? Because 50% DNA is from male parent, 50% DNA is from female parent. That's why it is not exact copy. Got it? Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And here also survival is less, offspring is very much similar to the copy of its parent. There we can say that. So note down the asexual and sexual mode of reproduction, the difference between sexual and asexual mode of reproduction. Here it is given. Single parent is involved, the first point. No germs or no gamete is being required. Okay, variation is less, chances of survival is less, offspring is a similar copy to its parents. Okay, so note here up to here in asexual mode of reproduction, note these points. Note these 4 points. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Done.
No, sir.
Noted. And now note the note in asexual mode of reproduction here, these points. This one, that male and female parents are involved here. Okay, in asexual mode of reproduction. Variation is more, chances of survival is more, offspring is the exact copy of its parents. Validator, please let me know, okay? Make this diagrams also, okay? Done.
Yes, sir. Done.
Yes, sir.
Done, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Now the question comes that what happens if DNA is not copied properly? What would happen if DNA is not copied properly? So what do you think that if DNA is not copied properly, then what is going to happen? So there may be sudden change in the DNA, first of all. Okay. Because you know that whatever the cell is going to perform its function, it is stored in DNA in terms of gene. Okay. So if the cell is need to make means specialized function, so it is stored in DNA. Okay, that functions, whatever the cell is going to perform, it is stored in DNA in terms of gene. And if that information is not copied properly, then it may result in improper functioning of the cell. Okay, which may result in we can say that mutation. Mutation is sudden change in the DNA. That sudden change that result in improper functioning of the cell. Like the cancer cells are mutant cells. Okay, because they there is a sudden change in the DNA and they are not performing the same functions or the similar function. That means a cell stop performing its original function and start performing a different functions due to improper functioning of the DNA copying or some variation or some change in the DNA copying due to some radiations or some other harmful stuff. Okay. So if I'm talking about that, if the DNA is not copied properly, then what would happen? There may be some mutation in the cell. Okay. And it may also result, means if DNA is not copied, if there is a large variation, then what would happen? This cell apparatus will reject the cell apparatus means cell organelle will reject the copied DNA. And we can say that if they reject the DNA, then cell will ultimately die. For example, if there is much variation, for example, you know that mobile phones, here is an example of mobile phone and washing machine. So, you know, washing machine has a drum, it has a timer, it has a rinse settings, okay, and dryer settings. So if what would happen if you install instead of washing machine software, if you install the software of mobile phone into it, will the washing machine work? No, because mobile software has the function of calling, which washing machine does not do. It has to rinse, it has to, so what would happen that this washing machine will not run. This will reject the DNA or the software. So similarly, if the cell apparatus are designed to perform a special function and that information or that function is not being performed by the DNA is commanding in some different things, then these cell apparatus, mitochondria, ribosomes will reject the copied DNA and the cell will ultimately die. So what is happening? What is written here? What would happen if DNA is not copied properly? DNA contains genetic information of the cell. Wherever the cell is going to perform its function, it is stored in DNA in the form of gene. If the DNA is not copied properly, if the DNA is not copied properly, different kinds of protein synthesis will take place. Okay, means different kinds of protein synthesis will take place. You understood? Why I'm saying different kinds of protein synthesis? Because cell does not have a tongue. Like DNA does not have a tongue that ordered mitochondria to do this function, chloroplast to do this function, or the endoplasmic reticulum to do this function. It does not have a tongue. So how it commands this? By synthesizing different protein. And DNA itself does not synthesize protein. It commands the ribosomes. It commands the ribosome to produce a specific protein. When that specific protein is synthesized in the cell, then cell start performing a particular function on that protein, on the command of that protein. Okay, if different protein is performed, then different work it is start doing. If it okay, now you understood that protein is synthesis result in proper functioning of the cell. So what would happen if wrong protein or incorrect protein is synthesized, then cell will stop doing different function. So we will say that if DNA is not copied properly, different kind of protein synthesis will take place, which result in malfunctioning of the cell, and thus result in mutation. Moreover, if the copy is not done properly, then the cell organelles or cell apparatus may reject the copied DNA and the cell will ultimately die. Okay, Shweta, you understood? Amar, Shweb,
Yes, sir.
Tejasvi, you understood?
Yes.
Understood, sir.
Note it down. Note it fast. Done?
No, sir.
Note it down.
Done, sir.
Done? Okay. Okay. Everybody, Shweta, Shweb, Amar.
Yes, sir. Complete.
Yes, sir.
Now what has happened that write a note on how does variations means reproduction help in variation among the individuals. So the question is being asked in the examination that how does reproduction ensure that the variations take place. Let me explain you what is the difference between variation and mutation. Variation and mutation. Mutation is sudden change in DNA. Sudden change. Sudden change in DNA that result in in change in morphology. Morphology means outer appearance or design of the cell or functioning of the cell. Instant change in the functioning of the cell. But what is variation? Variation is gradual change. Gradual change in DNA. In DNA. Okay. This is variation is beneficial for us because it is slowly changing the organism, and the organism start adapting into the according to the change environment. But what is mutation? Mutation is sudden change in the DNA. This result in improper functioning of the cell, and this result in cancer or means production of cancerous cells or some other cell that are not performing the functions according to the body design, or it may result in killings of cells. Okay, so if I'm saying that what is variation? Variation is sudden change that is beneficial. So if it is being asked that why DNA and how DNA help in or DNA copying help in reproduction, or we can say that how reproduction ensure the variation among the individual. So we can simply say that whenever a DNA is being copied, it copied with the help of biochemical process, and no biochemical process is 100% accurate and reliable. So we can say that the copied DNA is similar to the original one, but not 100% accurate and exact to the original one. Even if you do a photostat with a printer, having the print, you cannot say that it is going to have 100% same. The two pages are going to have the same exact. There may be difference in the margin. There may be possible that the in the first pages the printing start from here. In the second pages, it may be possible that printing start from here. Okay, and it may be possible that some part have more ink or the concentration of ink is more. In the other part, there is some concentration of ink is less. So it may be possible. So DNA copying is done with the help of biochemical process, and no biochemical process is 100% accurate and reliable because there is always change in the body internal body. Okay, you are not having the same concentration every time in the body. You cannot have the same water concentration. You cannot have the same protein, same glucose, same oxygen level in the body every time. No, there is always change, and these change help in, and due to this there are certain chemical reaction is taking place in the body. So DNA copying take place with the help of chemicals. Okay, DNA copying take place with the help of chemicals. Okay, you understood?
Yes, sir.
So note it down this one. Note this one. That whenever reproduction take place, there must be DNA copying take place. Okay, since DNA copying is done by biochemical process taking place inside the body, and no biochemical process is 100% accurate and reliable, so the copied DNA is similar to the original one but not 100% accurate and same. Okay, so this minor change in DNA copying during reproduction cause variation among the organism. And note, variation is more in sexual reproduction because of involvement of two parent DNA, while it is less in asexual mode of reproduction because there is single parent is involved. So note it down and copy this one. Okay.
Done, sir.
Done, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then Amar and Shweb. Done?
Yeah.
Okay. Now talking about the asexual mode of reproduction. So, what is asexual mode
Asexual,
of? There are
son.
two types of means reproduction.
So your voice is
One
breaking.
is yes. What do you say?
Uh, so your
It's still
voice was
breaking.
breaking. Yeah. No,
It's
now
still
it's
breaking.
fine.
Should wait a minute. Should wait a minute. I was fine. Otherwise, I need to change
Yeah,
my
no.
line connection. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's,
Now I'm talking about that
yeah. So,
no
so
gametes.
can I say the asexual mode of reproduction is it? It says that what? It's cloning, right? Like one.
Yeah,
It's
you can say that cloning. Why? Because single parent DNA is involved, and the variation in DNA is not much because single parent DNA is involved.
so.
So
So
when
how
it
do
is
you
this
describe
common,
asexual mode of reproduction? Like if that's
uh,
what is asexual mode of mode of reproduction?
asexual mode of reproduction is that reproduction in which the single parents divides into two halves. Okay, two or more more parents, more
Daughter
offspring.
cells.
Okay, daughter cells, and there is no double parent or two parent involvement is required. Okay, and since in asexual mode of reproduction single parent DNA is involved, so we can say that no, we can say that here that variation is less, chances matlab variation is less. Why? Because there is only one parent DNA. If they are the two different organism DNA combined together, like in sexual mode of reproduction, female DNA and male DNA combined together and they form a new cell in which half of the DNA is of male parent, half of the DNA is from the female parent. So this will result in more variation. So you can see that we are not exact copy of our parent because sometimes our eyes can be like our mother, our hairs can be like our father, our color can be like our mother. Okay, so the 50% characteristics like is our male like our father, and 50% is just like the female like our mother. Okay, so we have more variation. We have more variation. Okay, but in sexual mode of in asexual mode of reproduction, since there is only one parent DNA is there, so the offspring is, we cannot say that it is 100% exact and accurate. The offspring is 100% same or clone to the, no, it is not. There might be some differ, there might be some change. We cannot say that it is 100% same. But as comparison to sexual reproduction, if I'm giving the 1,000 points for the change in sexual mode of reproduction, then only one point will be given to the change in asexual mode of reproduction. So we can say that in sexual mode of reproduction, more changes is involved or variation is there. So their survival advantage is more. But in asexual mode of reproduction, there is only one parent DNA is involved. There is no gamete is required. Gamete is reproductive cell that is going to have half DNA, half from male and half from female, and they combine together, they form a zygote. Okay, so uh, in sexual mode of reproduction, gametes, these are called gamete or reproductive cells. But in asexual mode of reproduction, there is no such gamete or DNA like means reproductive cells is being required. So what is asexual mode of reproduction? No gamete cells or reproductive cells is required. This mode of reproduction occurs in lower and primitive organism. Variation is less. Okay, variation is less. Got it? And if I talk about the asexual mode of reproduction, so first of all, in asexual mode of reproduction, there are different types of asexual mode of reproduction. The first is fission. Okay, first is fission. So note it. In this mode of reproduction, organism generally divides into two halves. Means we have this organism, single organism, and it divides into two or more part. Okay, it either divides into first it's copied DNA. Okay, it may divide into two parts. If it exactly divides into two parts, then we called it binary fission. And if it divides more than two parts, then it is called multiple fission. Okay, got it. So we are just studying fission here. So we're not studying binary fission and multiple fission. So we are just studying the definition of fission only. So that's why it divides into two or more parts. And each is able to produce new organisms. So note it down. Note it down.
Done, sir.
Done. Okay. Now note about the binary fission. What actually happens in the binary fission? Okay. What actually happens in the binary fission? In binary fissions, or the organism divides into two halves. Means the organism there is means generally done in the unicellular organism. Okay, there are simple and primitive organisms that are not complex. In this, first the DNA is being copied. We can say that nucleus is DNA copied means nucleus is being copied. This is the nucleus, then it is start copying, then it divides into two halves and then finally breaks into two daughter cells. Okay, got it? So we can say that in this process, the organism divides into two halves by simple mitotic division. There are two types of division. Let me help you. One is the mitotic division, mitotic or mitosis, both are same. If we have this cell and it first copies DNA and this is going to divide like this. So this is called mitosis, in which the DNA, full DNA is being separated. And another type of division is, for example, this is a cell and then it is dividing like into the two new cells, but here it is not going to have the full DNA. It is going to have half of DNA. That is called gamete cells. So this is called meiosis. Meiosis. What is called? Meiosis. Got it? Got it?
Yes.
So this is called mitosis because here the single parent is involved and it just copies in and then it is divided into two halves like this. So note it down that this. When you're done, please let me know. Okay.
Done, sir.
Done,
Done?
sir.
Okay. It's 2 minutes remaining. Okay. So let's check some question on this topic that we have studied till yet. Example, amoeba and paramecium. Note down the example for this one is amoeba and paramecium. So what should be the answer of the first question? You have not studied this one. This portion you have not studied. Okay. Question number 4, what should be the answer?
One and two.
1 and 2.
Option.
Yes, 1 and 2 is correct. Option A. Question number 5. Question number 5. The characteristics transmitted from parent to offspring are present in gene, in
Genes.
DNA in the form of genes. Okay. Got it? Characters
Yes.
that are transmitted from parents to offspring during reproduction show only similarities with parents, only variation with parents, both similarities and variation with parents, neither similarities nor with parents.
Option C.
Okay.
Both similar.
Next, and variations with the parents. Okay. Plasmodium is multiple fusion that we have not studied. Question number 11. Doubling of chromosome after zygote formation having is remain constant due to the number of chromosomes in parents and offspring remain constant due to doubling of chromosomes after zygote formation, having chromosome during gamete formation, halving of chromosome during gamete formation, halving of doubling of chromosome after gamete formation, halving of chromosomes after. Which one is correct?
Option A.
The correct answer is halving of chromosome during gamete formations. So when gamete formations take place, you know that during that time, the chromosomes are half. Like you see here, here